Welcome to the first general Excel tutorial. This tutorial is going to cover some basic navigation, moving, copy pasting, and formatting operations. This is all done on a Windows desktop version of Excel. If you're using a MacBook or the online version, it will look slightly different. Some of the settings may be moved. Okay, so the basic way to input data is to select a cell and type the values that you want to be displayed. That's pretty simple. If you want to edit a value, you have two options. One is you click the cell and simply start typing, and that will overwrite the existing values. Or you can double click and that will enter into the values and you can edit here. So I could then add maybe a 0 onto the end. Same thing with the text. If you want to select multiple cells at once, you're going to want to click and drag starting from the top cell. So do this all in one step, click without releasing and then drag, and there you go, you've selected the cells. If you try and do this after double clicking, you'll be in the edit mode and you won't be able to drag. If you click first and then try and drag, this works sometimes, but I've had issues with that. So it's best to just click and drag all in one motion. Okay, this green dot right here has an important use, and it's not for selecting. So don't try and select an area by clicking and then dragging this. This is the replicate option. If I drag this down, it will replicate this cell. One thing this is handy for is if you select a pattern, Excel will attempt to continue that pattern down. If you have a very long column that you want to select all at once, you can either click and drag, but if you have a really long column, it can be helpful to use this shortcut. Click the first cell, hold Control-Shift on your keyboard, and then tap the down arrow once. That will select the whole column. You can do this for multiple columns. On a MacBook, all of the operations with Control are replaced by Command, so that would be Command-Shift down. Okay, so let's talk about copying and pasting. If you want to copy and paste data in Excel, it's pretty simple. You make your selection, Control-C to copy, choose the area you want to paste, Control-V, it's done. If you're copying in data from an outside source, there's something important you need to do. So let's say this is from a Word document or a website. I have it copied. When you go to paste it into Excel, you're going to want to choose this drop-down option, Paste Values Only. This will ensure that any extra formatting gets wiped and you just get the numbers. If you don't do that, sometimes there's extra formatting that will mess up your calculations. It might view these all as 0 or just nothing, and it makes weird things happen. So drop down there, paste values only. Another thing is if your data is in the wrong orientation like this, there you go. You can copy the data as you would normally, and then when you go to paste, choose the transpose option here, and it will rotate that data for you. Okay, now cutting does something a little bit different. Instead of creating a replica of the cells, if I Control X, that will cut, and now when I paste, it removes the original and moves these over. Now this has additional very important functionality when you're working with equations, but we'll get to that in the next video. Okay, so lastly, let's talk about formatting. Let's say I have some decimal numbers. And I want to change how many decimal places displays. You can select them and then use these two options right here. One of them will decrease the decimals that display, and one will increase the decimals that display. You can also change the type of a value from a number. General is what every cell starts off with. Change it to currency, put a $sign on it. Change it to a percentage. You can change it to text. If you change it to text, this will sometimes make the equations not recognize it as numbers, so watch out for that. In general, the cell should be formatted as general. If you type text that is too long for a cell, you can either resize the cell by dragging here, or double-click will auto-format the cell width, and you can also choose to wrap text if your cell is too narrow to fit it all in one spot. All right, that's all for this video.